Hi, this is Maginoni, and welcome to another edition of The Good, the Bad, and the Disappointing. Today we'll start off with the good, and that is Avengers 20, the Infinity crossover. Now, granted, there are other books here that I think that might have fit with the good part, but the reason why I'm really giving this one the props is because I think if you look at what Marvel's really building with the Infinity and how they're really doing a great job at building the story step by step, they're doing it in such a way where it's for the most part it's easy to figure out, especially when you have all these different stories floating around. My only complaint is because there's so much stories floating around, you can't focus on one primary. Um, but that being said, I think they're doing a great job. Now, the art I think is really great. I do think they got a little bit lazy at times. Like for example, lack of backgrounds everywhere. But then at the same time, there's so much clutter that I think some of the panels would really get muddled out if there was too much background. So, while I'm disappointed with it, I can understand why they didn't do it. Now, the reason why I'm really saying that I really enjoyed this is because this. You have a nice build up. The story, even though it does waste a couple pages with the rescue of Carol, that we've already seen before in multiple issues. The fact is, it's moving forward. It's moving forward in such a way where it's really building up the story, really making it something bigger, and you now have this sense of, on one hand, despair, but yet the shit's about to hit the fan, so to speak. And that's why I'm really getting more involved into it. I'm really starting to enjoy it, and I can see where, depending upon how things go, you're going to have a really massive fight. Now, like you have, for example, you have the Brood. They've made a bunch of broodlings, or drones, I should say. You have the Annihilation Wave, which they may or may not release because they're afraid that they can't control it. Once it's released. But could you just imagine the havoc that just those two groups are going to cause? Unbelievable. So and I'm saving something for the very end, but your clue is the cover right here. This is actually where I think you're going to see a major turning point in the war, and the builders have been doing some, I don't want to say bad things, but they've been doing things to make enemies of their own kind, and that's where you're going to start seeing some trouble. So what I'm really hoping to see is that the new characters from the new universe come in and really start showing off what they can do. But like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I think they're doing a great job overall. They might have hiccups here and there, but I think overall the hiccups are minor compared to what I'm just going to focus on Marvel and what Marvel has done in the past, where things have just been catastrophically bad. All right, let's go with the bad, and that is Avengers Assemble. Now, while I give that praise, I give this is a horrible piece of garbage that nobody should buy, because if you've been keeping up with the story, you really don't need this, because this is what happens when they do the rescue with Carol and the Black Widow and all those people to save Carol and Cannonball. The only difference here is we're getting subpar art, and this is just an utter disgrace. It's unnecessary. They should have used this issue to advance the story in another direction. I mean, meaning you don't need to do this. You could have done something else, especially when you knew that it's coming out with this week. You could have done something a little bit better. And I'm very disappointed with the editorial writing staff on this. And, I know some people are going to argue with me saying, well, Maginoni, it's highly possible that, people didn't pick up these other issues, so they need to know. Well, I understand and I can appreciate that. That's why I don't mind having the one or two pages dealing with it in certain key books. But when you have the 1 and 2 pages and then you have entire sections, that's ridiculous, and it drives me crazy. Bad, bad, bad. Now for the disappointing. Superman, Batman, #1, Doomsday issue. Doomsday was a very special character, where, for the people who don't realize this, Doomsday was this being that these scientists created, where they killed thousands, maybe even more babies, and these babies just kept adapting and then becoming stronger and stronger and stronger over time until it became Doomsday. And it was basically a force of nature that was designed to kill everything, and it eventually lands on Earth. Well, I guess the editorial staff felt that that story character really wasn't a great idea any longer, because now they tie it all in with Zod and Krypton and all this other bullshit, and then then they tell this fake Superman story where he fights Doomsday, and it's not. See, what really gets me is they do this nod. Well, we're even though we're taking this story, we want to give the nod to the original. I'm like going, this is a bunch of bullshit. You people, you have no respect for what was done in the past. You feel that that story is not hip enough, so you have to completely change it. And I'm really just so disappointed in the just that the lack of faith that DC editors and writers have, that people can't appreciate the older stories. And I don't mean that every older story is sacred and shouldn't be touched, because I do understand that you have to modernize things to a certain degree, because certain things don't make sense any longer. But at the same time, Doomsday was one of these things that you really did not have to do. And the fact that they're tying it in with Zod and now I'm just like, you know what I mean? And this is the other thing that's a huge disappointment. And I know this has to be a problem with some of you people too. It's the fact that you had this beautiful artwork, with Superman, Batman, with Jay Lee, beautiful, and then you get this. You go to your local comic book store and you get this. Where is the Superman, Batman that I'm supposed to be getting? Because keep in mind, it's not like you have to go to your comic book store and say, well, I want Doomsday, I want this, I want that. They went, Superman, Batman, you're getting this book. I'm like, it's just, I don't know, for everything that DC does good, I just see and feel like they do 10 steps back, and it's just a colossal disappointment for me along the way. But anyways, that's the gist of it. My good, bad, disappointing. Let me know what you guys feel. What's your good, what's your bad, what's your disappointing, and leave it in the comments below. Like the Facebook link, Crunchyroll anime reviews, like the video, and I'll have more reviews later. So until next time.